Today I'm going to do an updated review of the Apache case, do a water submersion test, 5-foot and 10-foot drop test, and then we'll go ahead and run it over with my truck over there. Let's go ahead and do a submersion test with the Apache and the Pelican cases. I've gone ahead and pulled the foam out of both of them and went ahead and put toilet paper in so we can see if any water gets in during that submersion test. And then I'll set a timer for 30 minutes once we get going, just to give them a good fair shake and see how much water they can keep out in that duration. And obviously the cases are empty, so when I put them in, I'll go ahead and have to weight them down to make sure they stay underwater. So let's get started. And then we'll go ahead and set the timer for 30 minutes and see how it goes. Alright, so the 30 minutes is up. I'm going to go ahead and pull the cases out of the water and dry them off. And then we'll see if any water ended up inside them. Okay, so I've got a fan here I'm going to go ahead and dry them off with. So go ahead and crank that baby up. Okay, now that the cases are mostly dry, let's go ahead and open up the cases and see how they did. Start with the Apache case here, and as we open it up, let's see. No, I don't see any water inside. No, there's no sign of water, okay? So 30 minutes submerged, no water. Now, it was only down about 8 inches, so that's not that deep. Let's go ahead and open up the Pelican. And I don't see any water in this one either. Yeah, they're both clean. So both the Apache and the Pelican case submerged under about 8 inches of water. Both of them survived. None of them had any moisture get inside, so that's a good sign. Even though the Apache case is not rated to go submerged underwater, it seems like it holds up pretty good. So I've gone ahead and done cutouts in each of the cases so we can drop eggs into each of them. And we can actually test to see how well the eggs hold up as we do the 5-foot and 10-foot drop tests. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, let's check out and see how the eggs did after the 5-foot drop test. So the Apache case looks good, no issues. And the Pelican case also good, no issues. Okay, so let's go ahead and close them back up here and we'll try for the 10-foot test. Okay, and after the 10-foot test, let's open these guys up. Oh, no, I can see we've got egg. Yeah, we lost the egg on the Apache case. Let's check the Pelican case. And we also lost the egg there. So both cases survived the 5-foot test, but not the 10-foot test for the eggs. Let's also take a look after both the 5 and 10-foot test how the cases did. I don't see any structural integrity. Obviously we've got scuffing on all the corners, which is to be expected on this rough concrete out here, but I don't see any issues with the actual case itself. No cracking or stress on the case itself. And we'll check the Pelican one as well. And again, we've got scuffing on most of the corners where it's ground off a little bit on the asphalt or the concrete. But for the most part, the cases, I would say, are in pretty good shape. No latches broken or handles broken or anything like that, so that's a good sign. Alright, let's go ahead and check and see if the egg broke. It looks like it's probably destroyed in here, but oh, what do we got? Is it good? Haha, the egg is actually fine. No issues with the egg. Looks good. Let's check the egg. And the egg inside is great. No issues. In my last video, I talked about some of the dimensional differences between the Apache 1800 and the Pelican cases. I had the Pelican 1120 at the time and the Pelican 1200. The 1120 was what Harbor was saying was comparable to the 1800 here, and the 1200 was what was comparable based on the dimensions on the back of the case that they list out. So since then, I've gone ahead and purchased the Pelican 1150, so I want to talk about more of a direct comparison between the 1150 and the Apache 1800 and show some of those differences. I'll go up and throw on the sides here the cost comparison, the dimension differences, the weight of the cases, and the waterproof rating. Now that I have these cases side by side, I can tell that the Pelican case has a much thicker support going down for the handle than Harbor has on their case. And that's going to make for more rigidity if these are dropped. The other thing is on the back, it's even more noticeable, where Pelican has actually put reinforcement for this hinge here. They've actually run 2 reinforcements all the way down the back, whereas Apache has only done 1. You can notice that the latches, while they're the same size, I was noting that the Pelican cases, when they get to this larger size here, do have the double throw latch, which makes them easier to open. So if I go and try to open the 1800, and I have to put a fair amount of force to get that open. On the Pelican, it's super simple. I would say probably 2 or 3 times as easy to pop this double throw latch up that Pelican has versus the latch that the Harbor cases have. Something I talked about in my last video was whether the hardware in the Apache case is stainless or not. Pelican talks about their hardware being stainless to hold up against the elements, but I wasn't sure on the Apache. So I went ahead and extracted one of the metal pins from the hinges on one of my Apache cases and did a couple tests on it. So first off, I tested it with a magnet to see if it was magnetic or not, and it certainly is. So it's definitely not aluminum. I did, however, put some water on this and put it out for 48 hours, and it did not get me rust on it. So that was a good sign. I was like, oh, maybe it is stainless. But just as an added measure, I went ahead and used a grinder to grind on this. Once I ground on it, I went ahead and added some water to that, and I let it sit out. I was going to let it sit out overnight, but noticed even after a couple hours, I was actually getting surface rust down in those grinder grooves, which is going to tell me that's not stainless. Stainless isn't going to rust that fast. So I've seen a bit of confusion online about how the manual pressure release valve works. I just wanted to show you how it's actually working. So I went ahead and pulled one of the valves out of one of my cases, and you can tell there's actually an O-ring on the back here that you can remove. So when you have that O-ring in here and you screw up against the case, that O-ring seals up against this smoother black plastic here and actually creates that watertight seal. After testing both of these cases today, I have to admit I'm really pretty impressed with both of them, especially from like an impact resistance. They both held up pretty well to being dropped at both 5 and 10 feet. The crush resistance on the Pelican for sure is better than on the Apache. When I ran it over with my truck, You can tell even when I start getting up on the case with the rear tire, it actually starts to flex, whereas the Pelican case just stayed stable the whole time. There was no issues at all coming through. From watertight, obviously I only put them down about 8 inches in water. They both held up just fine. The Pelican case actually, with the weight that was on the cases, the Pelican case purged. You can see air bubbles coming back up there, so it purged automatically through the pressure release valve. And probably for about 30 seconds or so, it went ahead and purged out. The Pelican or the Apache case also purged in its own way. Obviously, it's a manual valve, so it won't do it automatically. Once I put that weight inside, it increased the pressure. And I could actually tell around the gasket, there was air bubbles coming up on the different corners, especially around like the latch points and the hinge points. There was air bubbles coming up every once in a while. As you get deeper, I could definitely see how that could become a problem where water could breach that seal coming back through. But for light submersion and just splash resistance, it does pretty good. For most people, I would say the Apache is a great case, and there's no reason to pay 3 times the price for the Pelican case. If you're going to be around saltwater or corrosive materials, obviously not being stainless steel, it's not going to hold up as well as the Pelican case would, but for the most part, most of my stuff that I'm going to store in a case this size, I would just go with the Apache, and it wouldn't be a big deal. If you have any questions I didn't answer today in the video, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to you and answer those questions. If you like the video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you can see other great videos of this type. And stay tuned, I'm actually going to run over the Apache case at 20 miles an hour with my truck, just because I want to see that egg get destroyed. So as you just saw, I ran over the Apache case at 20 miles an hour with my truck, and it just got destroyed. After seeing that, I couldn't bring myself to do it on the Pelican case, just in case it also got destroyed because of the price I paid for it. But if that's something you want to see, go ahead and put it in the comments. And if we can get enough people commenting on it and 1,000 likes on the video, then I'll go ahead and post a short video with me hitting this case at 20 miles an hour. Thanks.